Marcus Jones. He's going to show us his technique on heart-shaped bowls.
All right. So today we're going to talk about, and I'm going to demo making a heart-shaped bowl. I'm going to grab one of these. If someone will just bring, a couple of these. All right. So this was like the first one I made. I had this piece of pine and thought, experiment with it. It worked out well. So it's thin with a bowl and bowl kind of design. Like I said, first ones I made were with Hans and they were that shape. And then I was doing a square bowl, with the thin edges and everything. And I said, well, I'm going to try this with a heart. And so just a different take on the same sort of thing. And the whole point is you can get an idea or get a, like from Hans, I got the idea of doing the heart-shaped bowls. And then you can look at that and say, well, something else you learn, and you can combine those things together. And lots of things like boxes, that the shape over there with a nice little curve box he made, the lid. Just learning that Emma Cook method to put the band on it makes a totally new look of something. So the idea is that once you get a technique down or learn something, you can then experiment with it. And that's why you start off with things like pine. So just in case it didn't work out like you planned. This one's a little thicker, and that's because my wife liked the edge wood. She said, don't cut it all away, because I want to see that edge wood. And so this is the one I made lately. Now, so what I'm going to do is kind of walk through the technique. So you start off with just a blank. I took one, it was square, and I just went ahead and cut it round. And then while it's still square, I went ahead and found the center for it before I cut the heart out, because that makes it a lot easier. Trust me, I did it the other way. Once you've cut it out, then you've got to pretty much center it, and then with a compass try to figure out the circle. So if you go ahead and mark it first before you cut it out, then it's a lot easier to work, find your center. Now, typically this one and then the little one over there, we're done with just using that basic center. Okay? This one, on the other hand, I wanted a bigger bowl. So I found the center, and then I offset it a little bit. So it was a little bit further down, so I could get a bigger bowl out of it. Now I did make it had to cut a little bit lower speed because, which means they ended up doing a lot more sanding. Because it was not quite, the weight was heavier on one end than the other more so. It was not quite perfectly centered. But it did work out well. So that's the basic idea. And all I do is, I know you can get heart patterns, but I just take this, put a piece of paper, make a circle, fold it in half, just like, kindergarten, and then cut me out a heart shape. Then you can either glue this on here with like something that you want to turn off, or I just draw it. Then I go and butcher it on the on the bandsaw. I'm not a great bandsaw cutter, but so that's why I end up doing a lot of sanding, mainly here. And I'll show you I'm not going to do a lot of sanding. I'm going to show you what I used. I brought the stuff. But the idea is to just sitting and watch people sand is kind of boring. So I just cut straight into here, and then you cut around this way. And then you do both sides. And works pretty good for the most part. And you can see burn. I need to get a new blade. So that's the other thing. Got a little burn marks there. So I'm going to go ahead and center this. Now, this is just a little thing I made because, and all this does is it's a template for my tenon. And so when I bring this up, it's kind of a pain to do. Come on. There we go.
That's the inside diameter of your tenon?
Yep, that's the inside diameter of my tenon. Did I get out? No. Make sure that's back in the right hole. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Now all I have to do is mark it. And now I've got to, I don't make my tenon too small. It's been known to happen.
More than once.
More than once, yeah. So that's just something I came up with just recently, and I was like, you know what? I got all these little scraps of wood.
Pass that around when you get a chance.
Yeah. All righty, so let me get ready here. So this is my old raincoat that doesn't repel water anymore, but it's great for keeping shavings. Still repels wood, yes. Yeah. And what's good about this one is because it's got these Velcro tips on it, I can just pull them up out of the way. So, alrighty. Put this on. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start off, I'll make the tenon. Okay, so I'm just going to start first and just make a mark. Okay. And now I'm going to use my square scraper because it's just a little easier. Raise this up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is make a okay. So, yep, I can offset it a little bit. That's okay. It works. So what I've got here is an outside tenon that will be the base. And then from now I'll just use this to kind of cut down and make the curve for the bottom. And I should have marked this because I went a little bit deep, but it's okay. It'll just have a little heart-shaped indentation there. That was a plan, right?
Design.
It's a design feature, absolutely.
What is this species?
This is walnut.
Just plain walnut.
Yeah. Now, what's important about doing this is you're doing like a square edge. Keep your hand on this side of the tool, because that point, even though it's not sharp point, it's still there. You will find it. It will find you. Maybe is a better way of saying it. Because you are cutting air, you have to be careful. This way. All right. And what I'm going to do is try to cut it up to about, not quite halfway. A full cut here. Very gently try to clean up some of this edge. Okay, and there we have the bottom. And there's two ways you can do this. One, if you want to, you could use an inside expansion joint to hold it here and go ahead and cut this off, but I like to work with the tenon. I do need to put a little bit of a cut in it. Not that time.
Dovetail?
Dovetail, yeah. Beautiful. I'm just putting a little bit of a dovetail on here with my point tool. And now we'll flip it around. Now, you can go ahead and sand this now, but we won't do that.
Do you
Now,
shape the foot at all?
huh?
Do you shape the foot at all? Just leave it square?
I'll leave it square, and I might round it a little bit. This one I'm kind of leery because of I got it cut, so I'll just leave it square. And when I sand it, I'll just kind of round it with a sandpaper.
Stop.
Soften it a little bit, yeah. But because I got it a little bit wide here. I don't want to
Sure.
try to mess with it too much because I'm afraid it'll break out.
Then you don't, you're gonna sand that middle so that it's not high.
Yeah.
It's lower.
Yeah, this will be actually cut out and then go from there. So. Guess what, guys? Camera, yeah. Okay. You should be able to put it back now. We're through with that part. So the next thing is determine, where I want to make my bowl. And since I'm in the center, it's going to be a smaller bowl. And if I wanted to make, a bigger bowl more this way, I would have had to offset this down about half an inch or so on each side, and then go from there. But that would have done it at the beginning. So you have to kind of plan ahead which way you want to go. So I'm going to just again take my point tool. I'll use this one. And not that one. Just find out right about there.
So you're starting at where the notch is, right?
Yeah, starting using the notch as my guide point so I don't get too close. And this will be
Another
the,
hand for the power switch.
no, this will be good. The idea is, I'll just actually mark it. That'll give me a starting point. I can sort of see. Now, the idea here is this is going to be the outside of my bowl. So I'll just make a little mark here. That's all I need. Now you can see that it's not a super clean cut or anything, but now I can just work this down. And the next decision will be, do I want to keep it a little bit thicker, more like this, or make a thin one. I think with this walnut and the wood was fairly pretty, I think I'll leave it a little bit of an edge on it. Not make it quite so deep. So now, same thing, we've got to work down towards this. Had a cut, had a catch.
That didn't take long.
Nope.
That's the cool part about it, he's got the ability to use now he can now do an expansion on it.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Do you find that it's better to cut from the inside out
Yeah,
on those irregular?
it is for the most part. Yeah. Oh, okay. I got a.
Did it just come out or did it break?
It broke.
You find that speed has comes into play?
Yeah, it does.
Faster, better.
Okay, so was it maybe a little bit slow at that point?
Probably a little bit slow. Yeah. Yeah, I need it that wrong way. That'll do better. Bring it up to about 1400.
Is it 1400?
Yeah. Plus you get much cleaner cuts too. So I just want to look at it.
Do you know what the speed was before when you had to catch?
About 1,000. Yeah. So I've got a nice little indentation here, which is what I was trying to work in a little bit. But and I'll see if I can't maybe come out a little bit now and clean that up a little bit. But leave that edge. And then I'll try to work down, and then I'll just work this down to here, and then I'll make the inside bowl. So that's the idea of what we're doing. Now, one of the things I've learned is, particularly if you're doing thin bowls, oh, I've got a crack in the wood. Oh well. So this may or may not hold together, we'll see. Normally I didn't bring any glue, I would glue that at this point.
Right.
Put some CA in there and take some of this and just fill it in and glue it. But anyway, so I would fill that in a little bit, and then that's just the joys of working with wood. You get in there and say, oh, guess what? Once you get down in there, there's a crack in it. So I'm not going to go any more here. I'm going to work now from here down.
You're working out in?
Work out in, yeah. That's important, particularly if you're doing the thinner ones. Once you get your outside where you want it, don't touch it again.
You don't want to put any pressure on it.
Don't put any pressure on it, yeah. And this one I'm doing it because it's thick enough I could do some more, but because of that crack that appeared, it's like, maybe not. So we'll just keep going. And I'm just working this down to make a nice little small bowl on the inside. Kind of like that.
For the shape of the inner bowl, do you generally try to make it like a mountain or an actual bowl underneath?
Depends.
Yes, either way?
Either way, sometimes I'll go straight in. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of a mountain shape. Sometimes I try to go underneath. Yeah. If you're going to go underneath, though, I need a smaller. Can't really go too underneath, or at least I can't. I'm sure there are people who can. Now, I think I'm going to leave this shape here. I kind of like that. It's the first time I've done that one. Leave a little bit of a ridge there. Just gives it a little different look. So there is this. Now, there's lots of things you can do here. Okay. One, I'm just going to cut out a bowl. But if you want to do like a candle holder, you know, a 1.5 inch drill Forstner bit, just take it straight in, and then you can get one of those 1.5 inch candles, either electric or real, you know. Real candle in wood, I don't know, but that'll fit in there, and it's perfect. So, like I said, you can kind of decide, you know, what do I really want to do with this? Now, and so when I get this home, I'll have to, you know, repair this, glue it up and stuff. I'll probably take a little bit of that home with me. And
One more thing you could do is you could take your parting tool and come in at a 45-degree angle.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
Okay? And what ends up is that ends up being a top. It could be the top of your box.
yeah. You can make a top there too, yeah.
Because you don't waste the wood, you cut it out, and this creates an angle, and you just turn it around, and that becomes the top of your box.
Yeah.
I learned that the other day.
That's something new, huh?
I've never seen that before.
So, now. This is just regular bowl making here. What's that?
Oh, yeah. Is that,
I'm stopping right there, yeah.
yeah, because we, on the camera, we could see through the crack to the,
Yeah, so that crack,
You keep spinning, you'll be able to see all the way through on both ends.
yeah.
yeah,
Almost all the way across.
yeah, so that's where I'm quitting. I am going to clean this top up with just a second here.
One more.
But that's at the top, but that's up here. Just to round this off a little bit. Now we quit.
Smart move.
Yeah. So I just put a little rounded on here. Now, so I kind of like that double edge look. That's the first time I've done that one. So what I want to talk about now is, without going through and doing all the sanding, because I just really make a big mess, is my process. Okay. I use a power sander. I use a drill, but you know, if you have a power sander, that's great. 2-inch. You can do, with the lathe spinning, you can do your inside of your bowl here. But if you try to do too much out here, you end up just tearing up all of your pads. So what I do is just very simply, you just lock this in place. This one have a lock. I don't mind, I can lock, I've got a locked one somewhere, but and then you just sand it, rotate it, you know, to the next spot and do it again. Come on. And mine at home, I can just rotate it around real easily. You know, and then you just keep doing that and locking it in place, and then sanding and sanding and sanding. So with this outside, because it's kind of rough, I'll probably hit it with like an 80 first. These, if I've cut it smooth, I'll wait and hit them a little bit later with the finer. Then I go to 120, 150 or 180, whatever, something like that. 220, 320. And when I get to 320, now I'm also doing this outside back too. So when I'm through, I can either clamp it here, put tape around it, if I have the, depends on the jaws, or I can expand it this way. And then I use a tail support just to make sure. I bring the tailstock up for sanding the inside, or I'll just put it down on the table and use my drill and do it that way. But since I've got to get rid of the tenon, I will turn it around and cut it first.
How do you hold it when you turn it around for the tenon?
I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. Now, so after I hit it with my 320, then I take just mineral oil, coat the whole thing in mineral oil. Wipe it down good, let it soak in. Gives it a really nice, brings up the color, also brings up the grain. And then I sand it again with 400. Okay. If you want to go higher, you can. 400, maybe 600, 800, depends on how smooth you want it. I find with these, I kind of like 400, maybe 600 is just as high as you really need to go. Because I really don't want a smooth, glossy finish on them. If you want a glossy finish, you need to either sand it higher or use a CA finish on it. And the only ones I use CA finish on, like this one, will be because I'll have to go fill this in anyway. And then I'm going to need to, it'll leak over when I do it, I know it will. And so then I'll have to either sand all that off, or I'll just put a CA finish on it. But after you've just sanded it with 400, then you can put your CA finish on it. Now if you're not doing, then I use some Yorkshire grit.
What is that?
Yorkshire grit. It's just a paste.
Where's the camera? camera
Here we go.
cover.
The same thing as Tripoli?
It's just like Triple E, yeah.
It's a European version of it.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Which is made in the US now.
Yeah, it's made in the U.S. now. But it's just a wax, it's, grit wax. There's also a micro version if you're going to go real fine. Yeah, that you like with CA finish. I didn't bring that because, But put that on, sand it off, and now I have. Pull this out. Excuse me, guys. Once I have it on, then got a little pad for my drill bit, and I just polish it off with this. Now I do this by hand. I don't try to, put it on and then rub it, let it sit a little bit, and then rub it by hand. Then I'll crank the speed up to about whatever, and this will spin, and this is a little more forgiving because it's not going to tear. Now I have to be careful. Sometimes it will go flying. I have to go retrieve it again if you get it too close to this. But if you work out this way, you're pretty much okay. Now to do the edges though, you've got to stop it and then just polish it with the drill bit. And then then I always finish up a little bit with that. And once I polished it, I'll put a wax on it. I like this orange and beeswax and orange oil. But this one is not really food safe, but then this is not really designed for putting food in. It's more decorative. If food goes in it, it's like candy that's wrapped, that kind of thing. And it just gives it a nice gloss. You put this on, let it sit a little bit. Yes, I know the wax and that is really 2 layers of wax, but it really makes a nice finish to it. That's how this one was finished. So the question was, how do we do the back? Okay. So find tool choice. So now to get rid of the tenon, we've got one of 2 choices. That's why I like this. Now, tape it or put a paper towel or something in it.
And that will only work if you had a certain shape bowl.
Yeah.
If it's a really shallow bowl,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work, right?
Yeah, if it's a shallow bowl, I'll show you what I do there.
Okay.
So you can just put this on the tenon. I mean, expand it. But I'm not going to do it now because I haven't glued this yet.
Yeah.
But then you can just cut this out, and you can then sand this inside piece while it's on here.
Or if it's big enough, you could use tools on it? Or do you always sand that?
Huh?
Do you always sand that down, or would you use tools on it to cut it away?
Well, now I'll cut this away.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
sand
and then sand afterwards,
after.
yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Unless you're really good, which I'm not. But if you get a really smooth cut, then yeah, you can sand it away. I mean, you can do. But generally, what happens is when you're cutting this away, I generally bring up the tailstock for security. So there's always a little nub there that you've got to cut off, and then you need to sand that down. And that's why you end up sanding it.
So the jaws of the chuck are going pushing
Out,
out on it?
pushing out on it, yeah. Now,
You can't go out too far or he'll split that thing in half.
yeah, so you can't be, that's why you bring up the tailstock, because you don't want this, try to make this super tight. But I will turn this on, and as you can see, that's pretty smooth.
Do you ever use the soft tailstocks, the centers that are either cushioned or balls or?
I haven't, no, but now what I do sometimes is I have if it's a large shallow bowl, I will do the same kind of thing, but I'll spread this out more. And then I have a little,
So,
it's closed cell phone.
Or mouse pads.
Mouse pad, actually closed cell phone works better. Mouse pad, if you use that, they work great. Before you do it, make sure whatever you're doing here is taped up good, because if it turns, that mouse pad will make it black or white or whatever color the mouse pad is, and then you end up doing more sanding. Don't ask me how I know that. I really don't want to say. But yeah, but you can then just expand this out. Or if you have them, you could put in some coal jaws. If it's, the bowls, but if it's really shallow bowl, that's not going to work well. But the advantage of the coal jaws is you can take the little holders off.
what is this word?
The little
Coal
coal. They're large jaws. They have these little rubber or plastic
pegs.
pegs
Okay.
that'll expand out or in and hold like a 6 to 8 inch bowl,
Yeah.
or you can get big ones for larger lathes. But if you take the little rubber feet off of it, you just got a nice machined flat surface. Then you can put your pad against that and then put your, if it's a larger bowl, yeah, that'll fit in. So it depends on what you have. I've got a, let me bring this one up, where I put it. I use this chuck for that because it's got a nice flat surface. So if I'm putting my small bowl here, now that's not going to fit, okay, because this is too big for this size bowl, but so I can't, I can put it in here. But if I was just doing a jam chuck type of thing, this gives you a nice flat, a bigger, flatter surface than this. Yeah, like that's what I did for this one. And of course I put the pad in it. And then when I cut the tenon off, it was ready to go. So,
Or if you want, you could take a piece of plywood and then cover it with the foam he has and make yourself a big.
I tried that, but I never could get it square enough. So every time I put it in the, but it's great for that too. Yeah. What's nice about those is that you can just put it in the jam chuck, put it in your chuck, and it's nice and flat. Which is why I like using either the coal jaws without the thing if it's a big piece, or this one with the wider, and then cover it up. What I will do though is on the live center, I do have some little wooden I've made with, and I just get the furniture pad, little rubber furniture pad things, or the felt ones, put it on there, and then use that and this one. Put that against it, and then it'll turn freely. Yeah, sorry. So I use this, and then I have a little wooden. Ta-da! And then you take a little piece of wood, round it off, put your pad on the end of it. Doesn't have to be thick.
Doesn't put a hole in there.
And then you don't put a hole in here when you're
Right.
supporting it.
But it's still live.
It's still live there, yeah. And it's still live, and it won't burn. So, yeah.
Nice.
So that's pretty much it. I know a little bit early, but we could sand, but unfortunately, this wood ended up, which you didn't see until you got into it. Because when I brought it, you didn't see that on the inside or outside. It was in the wood. So, that's the way it happens.
That's woodworking.
That's woodworking, yes.